The coffee machine at Lucky's Diner hissed like a dying animal at 3 a.m., and I was pretty sure I looked about the same. I caught my reflection in the chrome napkin dispenser dark circles, hair escaping from a ponytail, a name tag that read Maya pinned to a uniform that had seen better years. My feet ached. 8 hours down, 4 more to go before I could collect Lily from my mother's apartment. Next week's car inspection would cost money I didn't have. Lily's asthma medication was already 2 days overdue because I'd chosen to pay the electric bill instead. I was a terrible mother. The door chimed. 3 men entered, but my eyes locked on the one in the center. He moved like gravity bent around him. Tall, dark hair swept back, face carved from marble. He wore a charcoal suit with subtle pinstripes, the kind that cost more than I made in 6 months. The 2 men flanking him were clearly security. Dark suits, watchful eyes, hands positioned near concealed weapons. They chose the corner booth with sightlines to both exits. Men like that didn't come to places like this. You gonna take their order, or just stare? Carlos called from the grill. I smoothed my stained apron and approached on squeaking sneakers. The security men tracked my movement, but the man in the center gazed out the window, his profile sharp against the parking lot lights. "Welcome to Lucky's," I said. "What can I get you?" He turned. I forgot how to breathe. His eyes were the deepest brown I'd ever seen, so dark they swallowed light. But it was the intensity behind them that froze me, a gaze that calculated everything, missed nothing. Coffee. Black. His voice was smooth with a hint of Italian accent. The security men ordered the same. I returned with 3 cups, hands trembling slightly. When I set them down, their conversation died instantly. "Anything else?" "Your name." I blinked. "It's on my name tag. Maya." He tested it like he was weighing something precious. "Pretty name. Thanks. Let me know if you need refills." I walked away feeling his eyes on my back like heat. They stayed 40 minutes. When they left, the scarred security man placed $200 bills on the table. For $9 worth of coffee. I stared at the money. Throat tight. That was groceries for 2 weeks. That was Lily's medication with money left over. That was impossible. "Wait." I grabbed the bills and chased them to the door. "Sir, this is too much." He turned and suddenly we were close. I could smell his cologne cedar and leather cutting through the diner's grease. "Keep it," he said quietly. Absolute authority in those 2 words. "I can't. You have a daughter. Not a question." His eyes dropped to my bare ring finger. 4 years old. Lily. The blood drained from my face. "How do you know?" He pulled out a business card and pressed it into my palm with the money. "Dinner? Friday, 8 p.m. I'll send a car." Then he was gone, a black SUV swallowing all 3 men into tinted darkness. I stood frozen, $200 in one hand and a business card in the other. Heavy stock, embossed. Dante Moretti, private consulting. On the back, elegant script. "Dinner Friday. I'll send a car. D." My hands shook. This man knew my daughter's name. Knew things he shouldn't. Left enough money to solve my immediate crisis while issuing what felt less like invitation and more like summons. I should throw the card away. Call the police. Pretend this never happened. Instead, I tucked both into my apron and finished my shift, mind spinning with terrifying questions. Who was Dante Moretti? How did he know about Lily? And why did a man who moved through the world like he owned it suddenly care about an invisible waitress drowning in debt? By sunrise, when I collected Lily from my mother's apartment, the city felt different, like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, like everything was about to change. And clutched in my pocket was an invitation to jump. I told myself I was only going to return the money, be polite, firm, disappear back into my invisible life. That was the plan. But Friday night, I stood in front of my closet staring at the only dress I owned, black, simple, bought for my grandmother's funeral 3 years ago. My mother's voice echoed in my head as I pulled it on. "Sometimes God sends angels in strange packages, Mia. Dante Moretti didn't look like an angel. He looked like the kind of danger your mother warned you about." The black Mercedes arrived at exactly 8 p.m. The driver opened the door without a word, and I slid into leather seats that probably cost more than my monthly rent. The interior smelled like that same cedar cologne, and I realized with a jolt that Dante must have been in this car recently. My heart hammered against my ribs. We drove for 20 minutes into the part of the city I only saw from bus window-lined streets. Buildings that glowed with old money and older secrets. The restaurant had no sign, just a brass number on an unmarked door. Inside was warmth and soft lighting and the quiet murmur of wealth. A host led me through the main dining room, where women wore diamonds and men wore watches worth more than cars, to a private room at the back. Dante stood when I entered. He wore navy tonight, and it made his dark eyes look almost black. His gaze swept over me, and for the first time in years I didn't feel invisible. I felt seen. Completely, terrifyingly seen. "Maya," he pulled out my chair. "You came." I shouldn't have. I sat because my legs couldn't hold me anymore. "I came to return your money. It's too much for coffee." It wasn't payment for coffee. He took his seat across from me, and candlelight carved shadows across his face. "Consider it an investment." "In what?" "In you." A waiter appeared with wine I couldn't pronounce. Dante waved away the tasting ritual and waited until we were alone. "You have questions," he said. "How do you know about Lily?" "I make it my business to know things." He took a sip of wine. "Especially about people who interest me. Why do I interest you?" Her voice was steadier than I felt. "I'm nobody. I'm a waitress with a broken car and medical bills I can't pay. You're a mother working 3 jobs to give her daughter a good life. You smile at strangers even when you're exhausted. You haven't given up, even though you have every reason to." His eyes held mine. "That's not nobody, Maya. That's strength most people never find." The words hit something raw inside me. When was the last time anyone had seen me as anything other than a waitress or a struggling mum or a woman who'd failed at marriage? Courses arrived, food I couldn't name, each more beautiful than the last. Dante asked about Lily. Her favorite color, her favorite stories. He listened like every word mattered. Between the second and third course, he set down his fork. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to hear me out before you answer." My stomach clenched. "Okay, marry me." The room tilted. "What?" "6 months. A business arrangement." His voice was calm, like he was discussing the weather. "You get financial security, all your debts paid, an apartment, everything Lily needs. I get legitimacy. A wife for public appearances, someone to help me. Soften my image." I should have laughed. Should have thrown wine in his face. Should have run. "You're insane. I'm practical." He leaned forward. "You're drowning, Maya. I'm offering you a lifeline. No strings, no expectations beyond appearing together in public. After 6 months, we divorce. You walk away with enough money to start over properly. Why me? Because you're real. Because my world is full of people who want something from me, and you just want to take care of your daughter." His jaw tightened. "Because I need someone I can trust not to sell me out to the highest bidder. You don't even know me. I know enough." He pulled a folder from beside his chair. "I know your ex-husband, Derek, stopped paying child support 18 months ago. I know you're 3 months behind on rent. I know Lily's specialist appointments cost more than you make. I know you're one emergency away from losing everything." Tears burned my eyes. "That's none of your business. It is now." He slid the folder across the table. "This is the contract. Read it. Think about it. But Maya, that eviction notice you got yesterday. You have 2 weeks. I'm offering you a solution." My hands trembled as I opened the folder. Legal language swam before my eyes, but one number at the bottom jumped out. $500,000. More zeros than I'd ever seen attached to anything with my name on it. "What's the catch?" I whispered. Dante's smile was slow and dangerous. "The catch, Mrs. Moreau, is that you have to trust me completely. And I have a feeling that's something you haven't done with anyone in a very long time." He was right. And that terrified me more than anything else. I didn't sleep for 3 days. The contract sat on my kitchen table like a bomb. 20 pages of legal language that basically said, pretend to love Dante Moretti for 6 months, walk away rich enough to give Lily everything I'd ever dreamed of. My mother thought I was insane. You don't marry strangers, Maya. I don't care how much money, it's $500,000, Mama. My voice cracked. It's Lily's medicine. It's a real apartment. It's not choosing between electricity and food. She'd gone quiet, because she knew. She'd watched me drown for 4 years. On the 3rd night, I picked up the pen. My hand shook as I signed my name, Maya Torres, soon to be Maya Moretti, and the ink felt permanent in a way that made my chest tight. I texted the number on Dante's card. I signed. The response was immediate. Good girl. Car picks you up Monday, 9 a.m. Wear something nice. Something nice appeared in a box outside my door Sunday night. A cream-colored dress, simple but clearly expensive, with shoes that actually fit, and a note in that elegant script. For tomorrow. D. The courthouse was old stone and marble, the kind of building where important things happened. Dante waited on the steps in a black suit, and when he saw me, something flickered in his dark eyes. You look beautiful. I look terrified. That too. He offered his arm. Ready? No. Yes, I didn't know anymore. The judge was older, with kind eyes and a smile that suggested he owed Dante favors I didn't want to know about. The ceremony lasted less than 10 minutes. Dante's answers were steady, confident. Mine trembled. Do you, Maya Torres, take this man, this stranger, this dangerous man with secrets in his eyes and blood on his hands, probably? I do. Dante slid a ring onto my finger-white gold with a single diamond that caught the light and probably cost more than my car. It was beautiful. It was a lie. It was the chain that bound me to 6 months of pretending. You may kiss the bride. Dante's hand cupped my face with surprising gentleness. The kiss was brief, chaste, appropriate for the 2 witnesses watching. But when his lips touched mine, something electric shot through me. Fear, maybe, or recognition of the cage door closing. Mrs. Moretti, he whispered against my mouth, and it sounded like a promise and a threat. Outside, a black car waited. Not the Mercedes, something sleeker, more expensive. Dante opened the door himself this time. Where are we going? I asked. Home. We drove through the city, climbing higher into the hills where buildings became fewer and views became everything. Finally, we pulled into an underground garage beneath a glass and steel building that scraped the sky. Dante led me to a private elevator. It required a key card and fingerprint scan. My new life required security clearance. The penthouse took up the entire top floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city like we owned it. The furniture looked like art. Everything was white and chrome and expensive and cold. The master bedroom is down that hall, Dante said, his voice suddenly businesslike. Yours is across from it. Lily's room is being finished now. Furniture arrives tomorrow. Whatever she needs, tell Maria. She'll handle it. Who's Maria? Housekeeper. She'll be here weekday mornings. He pulled out another key card and pressed it into my palm. This opens everything. The elevator, the doors, the building amenities. You're free to come and go, but security goes with you. Always. Non-negotiable. I stared at the key card, at the ring on my finger, at this stranger I'd married. Dante, what have I done? He stepped closer, and that cedar cologne wrapped around me like smoke. You've made a choice to survive, Maya. There's no shame in that. And what did you get out of this? His smile was slow, dangerous, predatory. A wife who needs me. That's more valuable than you think. He turned toward the hall, then paused. Oh, and Maya. Welcome home, Mrs. Moretti. You might as well get comfortable. His footsteps echoed down the marble hallway, and I stood alone in a penthouse worth millions, wearing a ring that felt like a shackle, with a new name that tasted like metal on my tongue. I walked to the windows and looked out at the city far below. Somewhere down there was my old apartment, my old life. The version of Maya who poured coffee and worried about rent. She felt like a stranger now. And the terrifying part was, I wasn't sure I wanted her back. Lily thought we'd moved into a palace. Mama, is this really our house? She spun in circles in her new bedroom walls painted soft lavender, a canopy bed that looked like something from a fairy tale, and more stuffed animals than I could count arranged on custom shelves. For now, baby, I knelt down to her level. Remember what I told you? We're staying here with Mr. Moretti for a little while. Can I call him Dante? She whispered it like a secret. Before I could answer, his voice came from the doorway. You can call me whatever you'd like, Piccola. Dante leaned against the frame in jeans and a black t-shirt, the first time I'd seen him in anything but suits. He looked younger, more approachable, more dangerous because it was easier to forget what he was when he looked like this. Lily studied him with the serious consideration only 4-year-olds could manage. Do you like unicorns? I've never met one personally, but I hear they're excellent. He was completely serious. Do you? She nodded enthusiastically and launched into an explanation of her stuffed unicorn collection. Dante listened like she was discussing matters of international importance, asking questions, remembering details. Watching them, something in my chest cracked open. That night at dinner, out first as a family, Maria served food. I couldn't pronounce on plates that were probably worth more than my old car. Lily chatted about her day at her new preschool, the one with the waiting list Dante had somehow bypassed. Everyone has their own cubby, and mine has a unicorn sticker. And the playground has swings that go really high. She kicked her feet under the table. Can Dante push me on the swings tomorrow? Froze. We hadn't discussed this part, the part where my daughter got attached. If your mama says it's okay, Dante said carefully, his eyes finding mine. I'm sure Dante's very busy, I'm not. He cut me off gently. I work from home most days. I'd love to push you on the swings, Lily. My daughter beamed, and I felt the cage walls inch closer. The days fell into a rhythm that felt surreal. Dante was gone sometimes. Business meetings, he'd say vaguely, but present every evening. He asked about Lily's day. He asked about mine like my answer actually mattered. I learnt the rules quickly. Don't ask about his work. Don't leave without security. Don't mention our arrangement to anyone. I also learned that Dante's world had sharp edges. Men in dark suits came and went, speaking in low Italian. Packages arrived that Dante took to his locked office. His phone rang at odd hours, and his voice would go cold, controlled, terrifying. And one night doing laundry I insisted on doing myself despite Maria's protests. I found blood on his shirt cuff. Business dispute, he said when I asked, his tone making it clear the subject was closed. I wanted to push, wanted to demand answers. But I'd signed a contract that said I'd ask no questions, and Dante's expression reminded me exactly who I'd married. A stranger, a dangerous man, someone who solved problems in ways I didn't want to imagine. But then Lily would laugh at something he said. Truly happy for the first time since Derek left. And I'd wonder if some cages were worth the price of admission. 3 weeks into our arrangement, my phone rang. Derek's name flashed across the screen, and my blood turned to ice. I hadn't heard from him in 8 months. Not since he'd stopped paying child support and moved to another state with his new girlfriend. Hello? Maya. His voice was tight with barely controlled rage. What the hell did you do? What are you? You married some rich guy? Got yourself a sugar daddy? He laughed, cruel and sharp. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? My hand tightened on the phone. That's none of your business. Lily is my business. My daughter. A pause, calculated. I've been doing research on your new husband, Maya. Dante Moretti has some very interesting connections. Very questionable business practices. My stomach dropped. I'm filing for custody, Derek continued, satisfaction dripping from every word. No judge will let you keep Lily when they find out you married a criminal to get his money. I'll see you in court. He hung up. I stood frozen in the kitchen, phone trembling in my hand, as my carefully constructed new life began to crumble around me. Behind me, Dante's voice was quiet, deadly. What did he say? I turned. Dante stood in the doorway, and the look on his face made my breath catch. This was who he really was. Not the gentleman who, pushed Lily on swings, the predator who eliminated threats. I told Dante everything. It's about Derek's call, the custody threat, the accusations about criminal connections. Dante listened in silence, his jaw clenched tight. When I finished, he made one phone call in rapid Italian, then turned to me. He'll come here, probably with a lawyer. Tomorrow, maybe the day after. His voice was calm, controlled. When he does, you stay quiet. Let me handle it. Dante, I can't just… Maya… He cupped my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. Trust me. Please. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. Derek arrived the next afternoon. I was reading to Lily in her room when the doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw him on the security camera, older, thinner, with a lawyer in an expensive suit beside him. My hands started shaking. Maria took Lily to the kitchen for cookies, and I met Derek in the living room. He looked around the penthouse with naked envy, his expression twisting into something ugly. Nice place, he sneered. Must be convenient, marrying rich. What do you want, Derek? Want my daughter? His lawyer stepped forward, slapping a folder on the coffee table. My client is filing for full custody. We have evidence that you've endangered the child by marrying a man with documented ties to organized crime. The folder contained photos. Dante meeting with men in dark suits, entering buildings under federal investigation, financial transactions that looked suspicious without context. My blood ran cold. Mr. Moretti's business dealings are entirely legal, I said, but my voice wavered. Are they? Derek's smile was vicious. Because my lawyer has been digging, Maya. Your husband owns nightclubs that front for gambling, shipping companies that move more than cargo. He's connected to families that make the news for all the wrong reasons. You have no proof. I have enough to make a judge question your fitness as a mother. He leaned forward. Unless we can come to an arrangement. There it was. What kind of arrangement? $100,000. Call it help with legal fees. His grin was predatory. You can afford it now, can't you? Just ask your criminal husband. Before I could respond, Dante's voice cut through the room like a knife. You have 10 seconds to leave my home. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Dante stood in the doorway, and the man I'd married, the one who pushed Lily on swings and listened to her stories, was gone. In his place was something cold, controlled, absolutely terrifying. Derek's lawyer went pale. Mr. Moretti, we're simply here to discuss. 9 seconds. Dante moved into the room with predatory grace, and Derek actually stumbled backward. You can't threaten us, Derek tried, but his voice shook. I have rights. She's my daughter. She stopped being yours the moment you abandoned her. Dante's voice was soft, deadly. The moment you chose your new life over child support. The moment you decided blackmail was easier than being a father. I'll go to the police. Tell them everything. 5 seconds. Dante pulled out his phone. Or I make one call, and every secret you're hiding comes to light. The income you've been hiding from the IRS. The girlfriend with the substance problem. The domestic violence charges your family paid to make disappear. Derek's face drained of color. How did you make it my business to know things? Dante stepped closer, and even I felt the threat radiating from him, especially about people who threaten my family. The lawyer grabbed Derek's arm. We should go. Smart man. Dante's smile was razor-sharp. And Derek? If you ever come near my wife or my daughter again, they'll never find your body. Are we clear? Derek fled, his lawyer scrambling after him. The door slammed and silence filled the penthouse. I stood frozen, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. Dante turned to me, and the predator was still there in his eyes. We need to talk, he said quietly. I need to tell you the truth about what I am. It's all of it. Because your ex-husband just made this personal, and you deserve to know exactly who's protecting you. That night, after Lily was asleep, Dante opened his laptop. Everything you need to know, he said. Turning the screen toward me is in these files. My hands trembled as I reached for the keyboard, and my entire world shifted on its axis. The files were organized by category: properties, businesses, associates, transactions, and under a folder labeled operations, the truth Dante had been hiding. "I run one of the largest organized crime families on the East Coast," he said, his voice steady. "Clinical, gambling, protection, money laundering through legitimate businesses. The shipping company, the nightclubs, the restaurants, they're real, but they're also fronts." My mouth went dry. "How long?" "I inherited it from my father when I was 23. I've been trying to transition to legal operations for 5 years, but it's slow, dangerous." He scrolled through documents I couldn't fully comprehend. "The marriage to you wasn't just about legitimacy, Maya. It was strategic armor. Rivals were using my unmarried status as weakness. So I'm a shield, your protection," he corrected. "But I also chose you because when I saw you in that diner, trying to be invisible while drowning Dot, I saw someone worth saving." The words should have sounded manipulative. Instead, they landed like truth. "Have you killed people?" The question burst out before I could stop it. Dante didn't hesitate. "Yes." The room spun. "Bad people," he continued, his dark eyes holding mine. "Men who hurt families like yours, who traffic in suffering, who prey on the vulnerable." He leaned forward. "I'm not asking you to forgive me or understand. I'm asking you to decide if you can live with it for 4 more months, and if you can let me handle Derek. I should have called the police. Should have grabbed Lily and run. Should have remembered that fairy tales with monsters never ended well. Instead, I asked, what will you do to him? Nothing permanent. Nothing violent." Dante's smile was cold. "I'll dismantle his life piece by piece. Freeze his accounts. Expose his hidden income to the IRS. Make sure every authority knows about his girlfriend's problems and his own history. He'll withdraw the custody claim because continuing will cost him everything. That's ruthless? Yes. But effective." He closed the laptop. "Or I can walk away. Let you fight him in court with lawyers you can't afford against evidence he'll fabricate. Your choice, Maya. My choice. Like I'd ever really had one." I thought about Derek's sneer, his threats, the way he'd abandoned Lily without a second thought until money entered the equation. I thought about Dante pushing my daughter on swings, asking about her day like it mattered, looking at her with genuine affection. Monsters came in all shapes. Some wore expensive suits and killed people. Some wore wedding rings and destroyed you slowly with words. "Handle Derek," I whispered. "But Dante, no more secrets between us. If I'm in this, if I'm letting you protect my daughter, then I need to know everything. I need to be all in." Something fierce flashed in his eyes. "Everything?" "Everything." He stood, crossing to where I sat, and pulled me to my feet. His hands framed my face with devastating gentleness. "My world is dangerous, Maya. People will use you to get to me. There will be threats, investigations, moments where you'll question everything." His thumb traced my cheekbone. "But I promise you this. I will keep you and Lily safe, whatever it takes. Whoever I have to become, you're already a criminal. Then I'll be a worse one if that's what it takes to protect my family. My family. Not our arrangement. Not the contract. Family." "Okay," I breathed. "Okay, I trust you." His kiss was nothing like the courthouse. This was claiming, possession, promise. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. "Derek will be handled by Monday," he said against my lips. "And Maya, thank you for choosing to stay. For choosing me, even knowing what I am. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible." That night, I lay in my separate bedroom and listened to the city hum 40 floors below. Somewhere out there, Derek was about to learn what happened when you threatened a crime lord's family. And I couldn't find it in myself to feel guilty. Maybe that made me a monster too. Or maybe it just made me a mother who'd finally found someone willing to fight for her daughter the way she deserved. Either way, I'd made my choice, and I wasn't looking back. Derek's life unraveled in 72 hours. Monday morning, his bank accounts froze. By Tuesday, the IRS had opened an investigation into unreported income. Wednesday, CPS showed up at his apartment with questions about his girlfriend's substance use and photos of bruises on her arms. By Thursday, Derek called me sobbing. "Make it stop," he begged. "Please, Maya, I'll withdraw everything. The custody claim, all of it. Just make him stop." I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt tired. "You should have thought about that before threatening my daughter." I hung up. Dante found me on the balcony that evening, staring at the city lights that stretched out like a carpet of stars. "It's done," he said quietly. Derek signed papers relinquishing all parental rights. He's leaving the state. We'll never hear from him again. Just like that. Just like that. He stood beside me, close but not touching. "Are you angry?" "I don't know what I am." I turned to look at him. "You've destroyed someone's life in 3 days, Dante. You did it for me, for Lily, but it was so easy for you." "It wasn't easy." His jaw tightened. "It was necessary. There's a difference." "Is there?" For a long moment, he said nothing. Then my father used to say the world is divided into predators and prey, wolves and sheep. He raised me to be a wolf. His voice went quiet. "But you and Lily, you make me want to be something else. Something better. You can't change what you are. No, but I can choose what I protect. Who I protect." He finally looked at me, and the vulnerability in his eyes stole my breath. "In my world, everything is transaction and power and violence. But you're real, Maya. You and Lily are good. You're light in a very dark place." My chest ached. "Dante." His phone rang. The sharp, urgent tone that made his entire body go rigid. He answered in Italian, his voice clipped. With each word, his expression went darker, colder, more dangerous. When he hung up, his hands were shaking. "What's wrong?" I asked, fear climbing my throat. "A rival family made a move. Warehouse fire, 3 of my men in the hospital." His voice was controlled, but I could hear the fury beneath. "They sent a message. The wife is weakness. Fix it, or we will." The world tilted. "They're threatening me. They're threatening us." He turned, and the man I'd married was gone. In his place was the crime lord, the predator, the wolf. "I need to handle this. Tonight. It might take," he checked his watch, 36 hours. Maybe more. What do I do? "Stay here. Security will triple. You and Lily don't leave for any reason." He cupped my face, and despite the danger vibrating through him, his touch was gentle. "I will handle this, Maya. I promise you." "How?" His smile was cold enough to freeze blood. "The same way I handle everything. Completely." He kissed me, hard, desperate, like he was memorizing the taste. Then he was gone, barking orders in Italian to the security team that materialized from nowhere. I stood alone on the balcony and watched black SUVs peel away from the building. Lily was asleep, safe in her fairy tale bedroom. I was standing in a penthouse worth millions, wearing a ring that weighed like a promise. And somewhere in the city, men were going to war over whether I was weakness or strength. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. Dante's phone went straight to voicemail. His security team gave me nothing, just tight smiles and assurances that Mr. Moretti has everything under control. 36 hours became 40, then 48. When the door finally opened at 2 a.m. on the third night, I ran to the entrance. Dante stood there, still in his suit. There was blood on his knuckles, exhaustion carved into his face. But he was alive. "It's handled," he said simply. Then his knees buckled. I caught him as he fell, and for the first time since I'd met him, Dante Moretti, crime lord. Predator. The man who controlled an empire let someone see him break. "I've got you," I whispered, holding him while he shook. "I've got you." And I realized with terrifying clarity, this wasn't an arrangement anymore. I'd fallen in love with him. I helped Dante to the bathroom, where he peeled off his shirt with a wince. Bruises bloomed across his ribs, purple and black and angry. His knuckles were split, dried blood crusting the cuts. "Sit," I ordered, grabbing the first aid kit from under the sink. He obeyed without argument. That scared me more than the blood. I cleaned his hands in silence, my fingers gentle on damaged skin. He watched me with exhausted eyes, dark circles underneath making him look almost human. 3 of their warehouses burned in retaliation, he said quietly. Their leadership is facing federal charges. Evidence mysteriously appeared that connects them to trafficking. They won't threaten you again. Did you kill anyone? No, he caught my hand. I wanted to. God, Maya, when they threatened you and Lily, I wanted to burn their world down. But I didn't. I made them hurt without making them dead. That's supposed to make me feel better. It's supposed to make you understand that I'm trying. For you. For Lily. His voice cracked. For this family I didn't know I wanted until you gave it to me. My throat tightened. Dante, I'm so tired, Maya. He looked at me, and the vulnerability in his expression nearly broke me. Tired of violence. Tired of looking over my shoulder. Tired of being what my father made me instead of what I want to be. What do you want to be? Yours. Simple. Direct. Devastating. Just yours. I kissed him. Not the chaste courthouse kiss. Not the desperate claiming on the balcony. This was soft, tender, and answered to a question neither of us had dared to ask. When I pulled back, his eyes were wide with surprise. Come to bed, I whispered. Not your room. Mine. I need to know you're okay. I'm not going anywhere. We lay in my bed. Our first time sharing a space meant for sleep hand. Dante pulled me against his chest, despite his bruised ribs. His heartbeat was steady under my ear, proof that he was alive. Here, mine. The contract says 4 more months, he murmured into my hair. What happens after? We divorce. I take the money. You find someone else to marry for legitimacy. And if I don't want that? His arms tightened. If I want this to be real? My heart stopped. Dante, I know it's not what we agreed. I know you signed up for 6 months of pretending, not forever with a criminal. His voice was rough. But Maya, every morning you're here. Every time Lily calls me by name. Every moment we're together. I forget this is supposed to be fake. I pushed up on my elbow to look at him. You think I'm still pretending, aren't you? I stopped pretending the night you came home bleeding and let me see you break. I traced the bruise along his jaw. I stopped pretending when you destroyed Derek to protect Lily. I stopped pretending when I realized I'd rather live in your dangerous world than go back to being invisible in a safe one. Maya, I love you. The words tumbled out, terrifying and true. I know it's insane. I know we barely know each other. I know you're dangerous and this whole arrangement was supposed to be temporary, but I love you, Dante Moretti. And that scares me more than anything else. His kiss was answer and promise and forever wrapped into one desperate moment. I love you too, he breathed against my lips. God help me. I fell in love with you the moment you chased me down to return money you desperately needed. You were so fierce, so proud, so determined not to be bought. You bought me anyway. No. He rolled us so I was beneath him, careful of his injuries. You chose me. There's a difference. We made love slowly, carefully, learning each other's bodies the way we'd learnt each other's hearts, with patience and wonder and the terrifying certainty that this changed everything. After, wrapped in tangled sheets in each other, Dante whispered, "Marry me again. For real this time. No contract. No timeline. Just us. We're already married. Then let me rewrite the terms." He kissed my forehead. Forever, Maya. I'm asking for forever. And as dawn broke over the city, I realized I'd already given it to him. Morning light filtered through the windows, painting Dante's sleeping face in gold. The bruises looked worse in daylight, but his expression was peaceful. Unguarded in a way I'd never seen. I traced the line of his jaw, marveling that this dangerous man was mine. His eyes opened, and the smile that curved his lips was soft, genuine, Nothing like the predator the world saw. "Morning," he murmured, catching my hand and pressing a kiss to my palm. "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck." "Worth it." He sat up carefully, wincing. "Come on, I want to show you something." I followed him to the dining room, where Lily was already eating pancakes Maria had made, chattering about her upcoming day. She barely looked up when we entered, too focused on cutting her food into precise squares. Dante slid a folder across the table to me. My heart sank. "Another contract? More terms?" "More." "Open it," he said quietly. Inside was our original marriage contract. Every page, every clause, every term that had bound us together, except one thing had changed. In red ink, someone had crossed out 6 months and written in elegant script, "Forever, if she'll have me." D. My vision blurred with tears. "I know this isn't what you signed up for," Dante said, his voice low so Lily wouldn't hear. "I know I'm asking you to accept a life most people would run from. But Maya," his hand found mine, "these last 2 months have been the best of my life. You and Lily gave me something I never thought I'd have. A family. A reason to be better." Dante let me finish. He knelt beside my chair and my breath caught. "I'm asking you to stay. Not as an arrangement. Not as a contract. As my wife. Really my wife. For as long as you'll have me." Lily finally looked up, syrup on her chin. "Are you asking Mama to stay forever?" "Yes, Piccola. Is that okay with you?" My daughter's face split into the biggest smile I'd ever seen. "Yes! I want you to be my real daddy." My heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same moment. "Maya?" Dante's dark eyes held mine, vulnerable and hopeful and terrified all at once. "What do you say?" I opened my mouth to answer. Glass exploded inward. Everything happened in seconds. Armed men poured through the shattered windows, black masks and raised weapons, and Dante was moving before I could scream. He threw himself over Lily and me, his body a shield, and somewhere in the chaos, I heard gunfire. Security materialized from nowhere, Dante's men meeting the attackers with brutal efficiency. The penthouse became a war zone. "Stay down!" Dante roared, covering us completely. More gunfire, shouting in Italian. The metallic smell of blood. Then silence. Dante stayed frozen over us for a heartbeat longer before carefully pulling back. His shoulder was bleeding, dark red soaking through his shirt. "You're shot!" I gasped. "Barely grazed." He checked Lillian, harmed, terrified but safe, then pulled us both against him. "You're okay. You're both okay." The rival family's men lay unconscious or worse, Dante's security standing over them. It was over. 90 seconds that felt like 90 hours. In the hospital 2 hours later, while doctors stitched Dante's shoulder, he said quietly, "You should go. Take Lily. Take the money. Find somewhere safe. This is my world, Maya. This is what happens. I won't trap you in it." I looked at this man who'd taken a bullet to protect us, who'd given my daughter a father, who'd made me feel seen for the first time in my life. "I'm not going anywhere," I said firmly. "But Dante, no more contracts. No more arrangements, just us. A family. For real." His smile was worth every risk I'd ever taken. "For real," he agreed. "Forever." The rival family's leadership was arrested within 24 hours. Federal charges, overwhelming evidence, and assets frozen across 3 states. Dante's lawyers called it fortunate timing. I called it what it was, complete and total annihilation. "They're done," Dante told me that night, his arm in a sling but his eyes clear. "The family's disbanded. Their territories absorbed by others. They'll never threaten us again." "How can you be sure?" "Because I made an example of them." His voice was cold, final. "Everyone knows now. You touch what's mine, you lose everything. I should have been horrified. Should have questioned the violence, the ruthlessness, the absolute certainty in his voice. Instead, I just felt safe. 6 months later, I stood in a different courthouse. Same judge, same witnesses. But this time, everything was different. Lily stood beside me in a white dress, holding a bouquet of daisies and practically vibrating with excitement. Dante wore black, a white rose in his lapel. And when he took my hands, his smile was real, unguarded. Home. We're already married, I'd said when he suggested this. I know, but I want to do it right this time. Vows we write ourselves. Promises we mean. No contract. Just us. So we stood there and promised each other forever, not because a legal document said so, but because we chose it. Every day, every moment. When the judge pronounced us husband and wife again, Lily cheered so loud the entire courthouse laughed. Dante kissed me like he was sealing a promise written in starlight. Forever, Mrs. Moretti, he whispered. Forever. 1 year after serving coffee to a dangerous man in a charcoal suit. I woke in our bed, not mine, not his, but ours. 2 sunlight and the smell of pancakes. Downstairs, Dante stood at the stove in jeans and a t-shirt, flipping pancakes while Lily sat at the counter telling him an elaborate story about her imaginary unicorn friend. And then Princess Sparkle said the dragon could stay for tea, but only if he promised not to eat anyone, Papa. You're not listening. I am always listening, Pecola. He plated her pancakes with exaggerated care. Princess Sparkle sounds very diplomatic. What's diplomatic? It means she's smart about making peace with dragons. Lily considered this seriously. Like how you made peace with the bad people. Dante's hand stilled for just a moment. Then, something like that. I leaned against the doorway watching them. My family. My impossible, dangerous, perfect family. Dante looked up and caught me staring. His smile was soft, private, meant only for me. Coffee, Mrs. Moretti? Please. He poured it black, the way he'd ordered it that first night, and when he handed me the cup, our fingers touched. That same electricity, but comfortable now. Known. Do you regret it? He asked quietly, while Lily focused on drowning her pancakes in syrup. Saying yes to that dinner? Signing the contract? Staying? I thought about the diner, the exhaustion, the invisibility. I thought about Derek's cruelty and the world's indifference. I thought about being seen for the first time, chosen, protected, loved. Not for a second. Good. He kissed my forehead. Because you're stuck with me forever. And ever and ever. Lily chimed in, syrup on her chin. Right, Mama. Right, baby. Forever and ever. That afternoon, Dante took my hand and led me to the balcony. The city sprawled below us, the same view from that first night. But everything had changed. I have something to tell you, he said, nervous in a way I rarely saw. What? I'm going completely legitimate. The last operation's sold, the transition's complete. His voice was steady, but his eyes were vulnerable. As of today, I am just a businessman. No more looking over our shoulders. No more explaining to Lily why Papa has security. Just ... us. A normal family. Tears burned my eyes. Dante, I'm doing it for you. For Lily. For whatever other children we might have. He rested his hand on my stomach. Hope and question in his expression. If you want more, I covered his hand with mine and smiled through tears. I want everything, I whispered. Everything with you. And as the sun set over our city, over our fortress, over our hard-won forever, I realized something. Some fairy tales start in diners at midnight. Some princes are wolves in expensive suits. Some cages are built from love and violence, and the unshakable certainty that being seen, really seen, is worth any price. I'd serve coffee to a mafia boss. He'd left a tip that changed my life, and a proposal that changed my heart. And I'd choose him again. Every single time.